Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Bell. It is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. It is 60 seconds after the bell, which means it is time to go beyond the charts, beyond the news, beyond the bell. So I want to start today's show off by giving a special congratulations to my sister and her husband on the birth of their first child. Welcome to the world, Aurora. About 20 years, I'll teach you how to trade. So we got that to look forward to. So, guys, our show, as always, is brought to you by our good friends over at the Blue Sky Trading Company for the clearest path to a live brokerage account. We talk about how important that is. Clearest path to a live brokerage account. Live trading with live trading every day with Mike in the Discord. And this wonderful show, we got your education, we got your accounts, we got your a connection with our good friend of the show, Jared Tendler, to handle your trading psychology. You don't need anything else. So let's get you to those brokerage accounts. Let's get you trading. And more importantly, let's getting you make some of those withdrawals and putting that money in your bank account. All right. So, guys, it is Tuesday. It is pre-FOMC. So tomorrow we will open. We'll see how we open tomorrow. Really interesting price action today, especially in the NQ. I want to get to that. So let's go right to the big picture. All right, guys. So we're going to talk about trading zones, and I've covered it a little bit on this show before, but as our numbers are always increasing, thanks to you guys, especially thanks to the people that show up day after day. By the way, I forget the name, so I apologize for, but to the individual that sent me a really kind email earlier today about the show and what you've learned from it, I really appreciate that. Always feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my email address up there at the end of the show. But again, guys, I appreciate that. You want to really show us you enjoy the show? Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up, and you do, guys, and you're putting in the work. I'm so excited for the momentum that Blue Sky and this show and Mike in his trading room and all of that are providing. Man, so much great education. A lot of it is free, and the opportunity to, again, get to a real live brokerage account. So this is an interactive show, so feel free to drop any comments you have in the chat. John, Mike, Chris, Drawdown, Tio, hello. Welcome, as always, to the show. So we talked yesterday, guys, how pre-FOMC, the most likely scenario that we were seeing is that we were going to get caught between about 18,300 and 18,000, right? So this is right at 18,000. I don't know how this got moved up here. I probably was screwing around with that, right? Okay, so let's kind of recap the last few sessions going back let's go back just a couple of days. So again, as we talked about yesterday, this gap was the contract change, right? So it's not that we ignore it, right? We just acknowledge that the June contract was trading at a premium relative to the March contract going into that. But we still have had a lot of trouble building momentum over 18,300, right? And sure enough, we got back below it. We went and we tested. It doesn't have to be to the tick, guys. When I say we test support, but it didn't quite get there. No, it didn't, but it was damn close, right? So we retested 18,000, strong push off, back up to 18,300, strong push down, back to this sort of this more concise area of support here, a little bit above 18,050. And sure enough, guys, late this afternoon, we'll look at a 5-minute chart momentarily. Strong push right back up to the 18,300 level. I told you I didn't have a lot of confidence in the market above 18,300. Didn't have a lot of confidence in the market getting below 18,000 simply because we have a major market event on target tomorrow with the FOMC 2 Eastern. Last couple of FOMCs, the market has not overly reacted to the FOMC, but it has reacted to Chairman Powell's press conference, which usually comes at 2:30 Eastern. So keep that in mind when you're trading. If you're sitting there at 2:27, you get into a trade, you're thinking, hey, boy, this is a really good trade, something going on, and then Chairman Powell steps to the mic. We know the Fed guys, and Powell's no exception. They've never met a microphone and a camera they don't like, so they're going to ask questions. There's going to be press conferences. There's going to be responses, and the markets, at least seemingly over the past few months, have reacted more to the press conference than they have to the FOMC itself. Tiana, Andrew, Gold Brother, nice to see everyone here. So I want to talk briefly, guys, and I did this with my community earlier today, and it went pretty well. So we're gonna just kind of get away from the price action for a minute. I want to put something out here and just sort of talk about the general theory of trading zones, right? And for the purposes of this, guys, it doesn't necessarily matter if this is a 80-point zone, 100-point zone. It's not going to be like a 5-handle zone, but let's assume it's a zone of about 10 to 15 handles in the ES and 60 to 80 handles in the NQ, right? So I want to do two things here. I want to draw this zone, and I want to draw a line approximately halfway through it. And I want to give this a little bit of a and I apologize, guys. I always turn off my phone during this show. But obviously, there's updates from the hospital. My niece just made her first appearance about an hour ago, so I'm not responding, but I am just kind of paying attention to what's going on in case I'll be running food up to as many people as needed in probably the next hour here. So with this zone trading, guys, all right. So once we have established this zone, and it's not always cleanly top to bottom, right? Sometimes you see this, or there's a lot of action, but once you've clearly established the upper part and the lower part of the zone, and then you either break out, and let's say a failed breakout or a failed breakdown, or even just a move off of support or off of resistance, okay? What are we looking for at that point? All right. So again, we got our price action here, and let's say we move down here, which is what we saw over the course of the past few sessions, right? When we bounced off of 18,000. Okay, so as we begin to make our move up, and again, guys, this is sort of that macro analysis on the 4-hour. Not every bit of it is actionable, but to have a thesis as to where the markets are moving on an hour-by-hour basis throughout the trading day can help us either find higher probability trades to enter or keep us out of lower probability trades, which is just as important, right? Bell pepper, yeah. Somebody's got some. Man, you throw a couple bell peppers in any kind of food. It always makes it better, right? I like bell peppers, like jalapenos, like some spice. I'm about halfway on the spicy scale. Like you get really, really spicy, not necessarily, but a little heat to it. You go to a real wing joint. I'm not talking about Buffalo Wild Wings, but like a real wing joint. Go about halfway up the Schofield scale. There, I'm right there. I'm right there. So I'm you. I'm sure you guys were really interested in that, right? But let me finish this before we go way off there. But anyway, as we begin to move back up, or again, if we were to break a failed breakdown and then move back into this zone, the first area I'm looking for is a midpoint of the zone, okay? This is going to be my at least first target. All right, first target, and again, this is not a target necessarily for a trade. Although if I were to get a setup, ideally right here, that's going to be my first profit target if it's within my risk-reward limitations, right? Now, if we were to start to push back up here, the very next place I'm going to look is the top, right? And same thing, if we move down here into, failed breakdown, we move lower. Let's say I get a trade entry here. The first place I'm looking is midway through. Okay, the midpoint, and then it's this lower level here. And breakouts of this zone, the most powerful breakouts, at least as far as patterns that I trade and I'm concerned with, are what I've talked about this on the show before, the break, retest, and go, right? So a break, a retest of this zone, and a go. This is a very, very powerful pattern that shows, okay, we're trading above the area, but not only are we trading above the area, we're bringing it back down here and confirming that that previous resistance becomes support, or down here, break, retest, and go, previous support becomes resistance, okay? Very important concept within technical analysis. One of the most simple points of price action that we look at is previous resistance, previous support, et cetera, et cetera. So again, let's bring this back down to what was, tie all this into a nice clean knot here. I don't like having a ton of these rectangles on my chart, but basically, for example, so we're in here. Our midpoint is right about there. So as this is trading, right? So let's say you're watching this go down, okay? And actually, if you look here, guys, the midpoint was rejected. And we went up and tested the high before we retested the low of the zone, right? So another area that you can pay attention to. Look right here, tested, rejected. Here, tested and broke through, made it all the way up here. Tested, held, eventually broke down, and then we basically went straight up, okay? So, guys, this is as much art as it is science. I consider, actually, it's a little less, but I consider this about 75% art, or 75% science, 25% art. Okay, so again, this is just to give you an idea of some of the ways you can look at some of these macro zones. I know, guys, so many of you, and this is a mistake I made when I first started both my regular trading and my day trading, I was only looking at one chart, okay? And to get sort of the complete picture, with sort of that top-down approach, it's like, one of those old corn mazes, right? And I'm from Indiana, like, throw a stack of nickels up in the air, you're going to hit 5 corn mazes in the fall, right? So, while you're in the maze, you have no concept of necessarily what's going on. You're only seeing what's in front of you, what's right, left, behind, right? You have a very limited view. And that can be helpful because you can see certain like little hidden paths and things like that, but you don't have the full view, okay? It's when you can, go up to on a hill. In Indiana, we don't have many, and see the whole maze or see it from, a drone or an airplane or a helicopter or something. Now you see the full picture. Now you don't see all the little stuff on the ground. You don't see some of the hidden stuff, some of the little hidden arches, et cetera, et cetera. But when you combine those two views, you get a little more complete picture. Okay. So hope that's helpful. So Patrick, you say, I will be focusing on not trading it like a raccoon on meth. I believe that's a saying against the NQ there. I will not tolerate NQ slander in this. No, I'm just kidding. It does trade like a raccoon on meth. So, but unless I'm misinterpreting, hopefully you're not trading like a raccoon on meth. If first of all, I've never done meth, but I've heard it's very, very bad for you. And if you're actually a raccoon, I'm not sure what you're doing watching this show. I'm pretty sure. Blue Sky, I don't think. I mean, Blue Sky can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I do not believe they offer eval accounts to raccoons and any other furry non-biped. But I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. Maybe I'll find out from Josh later today that they have a raccoon special. If you can prove you're a raccoon, you get 30% off. I don't know. I don't know. That's maybe a market that they should be exploring. But only raccoons in approved countries. Yeah, that's exactly it. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, so this is basically what we're looking for. Now, Blue Sky does not support raccoons on meth. It's going to be added to the agreement. Yet, see, this is where the lawyers really earn their keep, right? So I would expect at least 3 paragraphs on specifically that raccoons are not allowed. Maybe squirrels. I don't know. Oh boy, this show went off the rails really quickly today, didn't it? But anyway, guys, yeah, it's so here's the thing: we have these zones, okay, and we have all of this stuff going on, but it's all thrown out the window at 2:00 tomorrow, right? Keep in mind, guys, technical analysis, and let's make this the lesson of the day. I didn't really have a lesson of the day planned today, but let's go ahead and make this the lesson of the day. Keep in mind, guys, technical analysis is just the framework that we use to understand price action, right? It's a certain lens or a certain, if you guys remember those old, I'm 41, so if you're my age or slightly older, you remember those old 3D books that had the glasses that had blue on one side, red on the other, and if you looked at it a certain way, the image, it was a very crude form of 3D at the time. I remember I had like a Ghostbuster sticker book when I was like 6-7 years old that had stickers you collect, and some of them were 3D, and the book came with the glasses, and it was really cool, right? So the markets, when we just look at the price action or time and sales or anything like that, we don't see, it can be really tough to determine patterns, right? But these glasses, and maybe the blue side and the red side, one side is charting, maybe one side is the dome or like a heat map, like book map or some similar. So looking, at a more complete picture of the market, it's the framework, it's the lens with which we look through to view the markets. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but guys, the fundamentals always trump the technicals. End of discussion, end of story, no exceptions. Now, most of the time, probably 95% of the time in the markets, the fundamentals play very nice with the technicals, right? And the technicals become that lens, that framework to understand the fundamentals. But guys, tomorrow, if something unexpected happens with the Fed, or if Chairman Powell comes out to his press conference with like sunglasses, a big fur coat, smoking a cigar, and says, we're going to 0 interest rates next meeting, or 10% next meeting, right? The markets will be absolute chaos. I would pay to see Jay Powell do that. I'd empty my, no, I wouldn't empty my trading account, but I'd send him $20 and I'd buy the cigar for him. So a really good cigar, in that $15-$20 a stick range is kind of my sweet spot. I only smoke probably 8 or 9 a year, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Now we're getting bad. Oh, Badgers are okay. Well, as a not raised, but as a born in Wisconsin person, I approve this message of Badgers. So yeah. So guys, again, the whole framework that we look through the markets, that we view the markets, is technical analysis. And simply because time and price, which is what technical analysis reflects, time, price, and volume are the three major, almost any technical indicator that you see is made up of some combination of those things, right? And we can talk about, pings, distance from the servers, all that kind of stuff. But in general, over the course of multiple seconds, not nano or microseconds or any crap like that, price and volume and time are known to everybody at the same time, right? So it's not us worrying about, two hedgies, playing golf on Sunday and talking about, something coming up, legal or not, or any of that. These guys that have these ultra like quantum computers that with their algos and all that kind of stuff, where the price is at any given moment, where the volume at which it's trading, things like VWAP, those types of technical indicators are known by everybody at the same time. So it allows us to make what we do, which is quite frankly educated guesses about where the market's going within the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, hour, 4 hours, whatever the case may be. So, yes, it would trade up. It would be interesting. I have a feeling if we tried to put a raccoon on meth and a badger and or any type of monkey or anything on any sort of drugs and try the trade, I think we'd probably get in trouble for that. I'm not willing to risk it. Plus, there's no badgers around me. There's plenty of raccoons. I'm not even sure where to get a monkey. And if I met somebody that knew that, I'm not sure I would trust them in the least. That seems like a everybody's got I got a buddy of mine who travels around, does a lot of, distributor for beer. So I got a beer guy, right? I got a cigar guy. I don't have a monkey guy. I think that would be kind of weird, to be brutally honest. But not judging if that's, if watching monkeys trade entertains you. I don't even know. I'm sure AI can do something with that. Let's get Elon on that or something along those lines. Yes. So, guys, before we go any further, and before the show just goes so far off the rails, which we've done a good job at the first few weeks of the show with not going off on any tangents like that. But I'll be honest, guys, I did sleep a lot last night. It's been a long, tiring day. I've been without water all day because the main right down the street from me broke for the third time in a year. The place where the city said there was no water main. Yeah, there is. So before we do that, guys, I do want to tell you, we do have, because somebody brought up a giveaway. We don't have any giveaways today, but this Thursday we have our first ever Beyond the Bell Super Show. Okay, that's going to be this Thursday. It's going to be live at 3 o'clock and on demand for the rest of the day. For all of you that watch this show on demand, guys, which seems to be about half of our viewership, that's awesome. Seriously, for those of you that knowing you can't participate in any live or flash giveaways or anything like that, and you still show up here to make this part of your day-to-day routine, for the education. I know it's not because I'm easy on the eyes. So for you show up for the education, guys, I really appreciate that. And we here at Blue Sky and Touristy's Trading really appreciate you showing up day to day. But guys, I'm gonna do kind of a mini real-time webinar talking about building, evaluate, deploying your strategies. We're going to get into journaling a little bit. So it's going to go way beyond the 30 minutes. I don't know if it'll go the full hour, but it might get close. So with that in mind, guys, I want to go ahead and get to our trader mailbag. And again, because you guys are participating and because the two questions I got in the trader mailbag were sort of recycling stuff we've talked about before, I want to open the floor to questions. Well, Blacklight Gypsy, I appreciate you. Sorry, ma'am. I sincerely appreciate the input, but that doesn't get you very far in the trading world unless I'm trying for a career on CNBC or Fox Business or Bloomberg, and I'd rather I'm in my basement right now. It's a finished basement, but there's a closet right over here with the access to the water, water shutoff valve, my fuse box and all that. There's a cement wall that it's mounted on. I would rather like lean forward and run as fast as I can head first into that wall than I would as soon as I'd be a regular person on one of those shows. Yeah, that's first thing I when some people talk to me, it's like, what do you have advice for somebody who wants to get in trading, investing? I said the very first thing is cancel your Wall Street Journal subscription and stop watching the networks, right? They're entertainment, right? And listen, I'm, having some, other bald guy banging on his buttons that make loud noises and buy, sell. I guess there's some entertainment value to that. One of the groups that first got me into trading was the Tasty Trade team, for those of you that aren't familiar with them, and they've kind of done some different things over the years. But Tom Sosnoff was one of my kind of education heroes throughout the years, even though my style is not like his at all. But it's like last week I was speaking on the same event as him, and that's like the third one I've done with him. I met him, really, really, really nice guy. That was like kind of an eye-opening moment for him to be able to do, or for me to do these events alongside some of the people I literally, at least in a trading sense, grew up watching. But yeah, that's definitely something to look at. Oh, I did want to go ahead and look at. Hold on, I want to pull up the ES as well. Because this is something I wanted to zoom out on this. Now, again, we have the same gap here, right, guys? But really, and I'm actually going to consolidate this zone just a little bit and extend it. So this is kind of our area of resistance up here. And again, these zones are not perfect, guys, but this is sort of our area of support down here. Let's get that. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So, and guys, these zones, when we draw these zones, again, they don't have to be exact. We obviously broke down a little bit ahead, or broke down below here and pushed back up. But what I'm specifically looking for in these zones, in these smaller zones as support and area, or support and resistance areas, is the price action, but also these wicks, right? So when we have these big wicks, right? Like, so like this candle right here, okay? What do we know about this candle? We don't know its volume. I don't have volume on this chart. We can look specifically on when it happened. So it was last Friday. It was sort of the 4-hour candle right around the New York Open. We don't know a lot about that candle by itself, but when you see something like this, you know that the buyers and sellers had a bit of a battle here, right? So those are the areas on the chart where the buyers and sellers interacted and they fought a little bit, right? Happened here. Guess what? Sellers won. Happened down in this area, buyers won, right? Same thing as we move down here, seller, So these areas where the buyers and the sellers are fighting each other and one eventually takes control and moves the price, those are the areas specifically that we're watching. Okay, I'm sorry if I missed any questions here, guys. I'm scrolling through. Okay. Yeah, Chat GPT might have a raccoon on meth plugin. I played around with that. It's interesting, but yeah, I would imagine it's just, you want to talk about the old monkeys on typewriters thing. I think that's definitely going on behind the scenes there. Okay, so but yeah, so we've got this area again tomorrow. I do expect if we get some sort of the markets anticipate things in a bullish way, right? These will not matter. If we're kind of up here, especially if we're above here going into FOMC, remember the last couple FOMCs, we have had decent trading mornings, right? Now everything, again, gets thrown out the window at 2 o'clock and 2:30 when Chairman Powell has his press conference. But if we're up here, I would look for a confirmation of the zone, the good old break, retest, and go, and we'll go from there. So again, guys, what is a trade for me? I always define a trade as a thesis plus a setup. Thesis plus setup equals trade. Okay, so that's why, so why do I look at these 4-hour charts when I never trade on the 4-hour? And I'll be honest, guys, this doesn't necessarily make me a whole lot of trades, but when I have a bullish or bearish thesis on the 4-hour, it can sometimes keep me out of questionable trades in the other direction, right? If I have a long bias in the ES and I have an ES trade and it's a short trade, it better be a damn good setup. It better have everything going for it with the internals, the candle pattern, support and resistance, plenty of room to a first profit target, a stop that hopefully is fairly close to my entry without whipping me out of the trade before it runs in my direction. But yeah, this is definitely something that we will watch going into tomorrow. Okay. All right, any questions, guys? We're gonna take. I'm gonna take just one or two questions from the chat. While I'm doing that, I do want to let you know how you can reach out for any questions for this show or any other questions you may have. You can reach out to me, Trader Matt, on Discord. I'm available in the Blue Sky Discord throughout the day. You're welcome to direct message me. I will never direct message you directly, asking for crypto or any garbage like that. I don't know whether to be relieved or a little insulted that nobody's come in and tried to scam people as me yet. Usually it's Mike and Josh. But yeah, that's I guess I'm relieved to be brutally honest there. But you can reach out to me. I try to get back to everybody by the end of the day. Just kind of know that that's a thing. You can also email me, matt@tyroseestrading.com, which several of you have, and I especially if you don't have any questions, for those that have said the kind words, I really appreciate that as well. And if you have any suggestions or segments you'd like to see on the show in the future, feel free to reach out. That's matt@tyroseestrading.com, TIRESIAS trading.com. Binary options. So, we're predominantly futures here, drawdown, so I'm not going to get too much into binary options. I'll be honest, I've never traded them. And I know that's kind of a big thing that some of the various places are pushing. Now, I actually, I don't even remember their name, to be honest with you. Somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn from a company that does event contracts and event binary options. Like some are financial, some are political, weirdly enough. I didn't think that was legal in the States, but whatever the case may be. It was a very weird conversation. So, again, that's how I met the Blue Sky guys. A couple reached out on LinkedIn, had good conversations with several people. And so they left a good impression. They were committed to education. So I was like, all right, let's see how those conversations with those event guys were kind of weird. Very very, very Twilight Zone-y. And I was on vacation when I took the call, and I remember setting the phone down and just going, what the hell was that? Right? So, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like to use the gambling term tossed around, or you're Grambling, maybe you're Grambling University down there in I think it's in Georgia somewhere. So I always want to be careful about saying, but yes, if you can be gambling in futures, guys, if you don't really know what you're doing and you're just YOLOing into trades, even in something that seems like gambling, like binary options or event options, event contracts, things like that. If you have a system with a definable edge, that's not gambling. That's playing the probabilities, right? Even when you're literally gambling, obviously there's people that have gotten in trouble for counting cards, things like that in Vegas. But if you're just playing the probabilities and you have a statistical edge, by definition, that's not gambling. You're not flipping a coin. If it's just flipping a coin or, spinning the roulette ball or anything like that, yeah, that's gambling. And for those that want to get their gambling jollies out of trading, I always say, you know what, all the money you're going to spend and waste to entertain yourself gambling on trading, just go to Vegas and blow it there. You'll at least hopefully have fun, right? Or wherever you go, or go blow it on a vacation somewhere, and at least you'll be entertained and relaxed for a couple of weeks. And you won't go through the amount of stress people pay for in this business has always been a source of entertainment / sadness. I'll just leave it there. But guys, we're coming in on 3:30 on the normal Central Time Zone, 4:30 for you whack jobs out east. And I think it's a good time to wrap this show up. Again, I do want to remind you the Super Show on Thursday. I'm going to be giving. I don't know what Blue Sky's doing yet, guys. I'm sure they will step up as they always do. I am giving away two one-on-one sessions and 2 course packs. So that's couple $1,000s worth of giveaways from me. So I'm really looking forward to that. So make sure you show up for that on Thursday. So guys, have a great rest of your day. Hope you have just a wonderful trading day. Hope tomorrow goes well. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of Beyond the Bell, and I will see you back here for our Hump Day FOMC show.